JFD, just fair and direct.
Okay, hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Tea Time with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today's the 7th of October 2020. So yep, welcome everyone. Welcome to this Wednesday's quick market overview. We'll have a look at some of the instruments that I looked at this morning just to see how some of them are getting along, and some new ones of course. But as always, before we do that, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so now then, also just before we jump into the charts, quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos, and of course our JFD Bank website, and specifically our JFD research page, which we also update on a daily basis. So yep, feel free to visit us here on jfdbank.com and click on the research tab right there on the top. So jumping into the charts, now the first one I want to pick up here on is going to be the German DAX, and you can see that the index is drifting back down here. Initially it had a push higher but failed to reach yesterday's high and started moving lower. Now this morning I talked about this potential idea of maybe of a rising wedge here, but yeah, for now again we'll be very careful. It's drifting back down. Let's see where this index is going to close today in relation to this 21-day EMA here shown as the yellow line, because if it stays below this, then there is a possibility for this one to drift a little bit lower towards this upside support line. Now, although short-term and tentative one, still we'll keep that on the chart for now. And as I've mentioned to you guys this morning as well in my Traders Espresso, this is the other idea that I'm kind of keeping an eye on, where we could be getting ourselves a possible rising wedge, which of course, if you all know that according to all the TA rules, these tend to be bearish indications. However, until we get a break through the lower side of this formation, we cannot really consider this idea yet. So that's why it's just for now, just to kind of have something in the back of your heads. But yeah, if this can, for example, here holds above this 21-day EMA today, then, well, I mean, we could see a nice reversal, maybe back up here. And of course, we'll be keeping an eye on the German DAX futures once it's going to close, because then we'll see if the US equities will be able to kind of maybe lift the DAX futures. But if we look at the futures of the S&P 500 right now, we can see that the price is currently balancing at around 3,389 or 90, so 3,390 zone, approximately around here somewhere. So basically kind of rebounded from this 21-day EMA here shown as the yellow line. So yesterday, as you can see, the index found good support here, and now we're seeing a nice good push back up here on the cash index. So now let's see if this can actually move higher again. Now, previously I talked about this idea here, this level, the 3,397. Yes, we had a nice push initially above it. Then my next target was this 3,425 territory, which, as you can see, continues to provide resistance. So in a way, we can first of all get rid of this level here. We can actually recycle it and use it here, grab the yesterday's low, and I'll just explain in a few minutes why so. But what I'm gonna be looking at here right now for the upside is going to be this 3,425 zone, and ideally a strong break above it and a nice daily candle kind of closing above this area could do the trick for more buyers, and we could see this one traveling towards this 3,479 zone. So again, keep your eyes on that one. Could be quite interesting. But if by any chance the bulls kind of run out of steam and start drifting lower here, if the index starts drifting lower here, then of course keep your eyes on yesterday's low near the 3,354.55 zone here. A nice good drop below it would also place the price below the 21-day EMA and maybe kind of increase the chances of a further decline. However, the same kind of idea remains, as I mentioned to you guys yesterday in my Traders Tea Time, that to kind of strengthen the downside scenario, we would also like to see a nice good drop below this 3,329 zone, and then we could aim for lower levels, because as you can see here, this level acted as a very nice area of support recently, so we'll keep an eye on that one. But I'll start looking at some lower levels if we get a drop below this area, this 3,355. But to get a little bit more comfortable with further declines, then yes, a drop below this 3,329 territory would be needed. Jumping into another index, DXY here, so the dollar index. So just a quick update, not much has changed since this morning. Basically, the price kind of found good resistance here again near this 93.81 zone. So for now we're playing kind of the neutral game here, because for the upside we need to see a break of this downside line taken from the high of the 23rd of March, and also if we get a nice good push above this 94.65 territory, then yes, of course this could strengthen the upside scenario. But again, we need that confirmation break above this downside line first. In terms of the downside, we need to see a nice good drop below this excuse me, below this 93.37 territory here, which, as you can see, continues to act as a good area of support. So a nice good drop below it, nice good daily candle kind of remaining below it, then yep, it could open the door towards slightly lower areas. And of course, another thing for you guys to keep in mind is this RSI here, which can, for now, is still balancing above this upside line. But if suddenly this drops below this, then, well, I mean, if it stays below this upside line, then, well, maybe actually we could skip the upside for now. But of course, like I said, for now it's too early to talk about this. For now we're playing the neutral game, because again, we're struggling with the upside, but it's not really moving lower as well. Probably keep your eyes on the FOMC meeting minutes today, which are going to be released later on. So we might maybe see a bit of movement in the US dollar. Now, if we get some movement in the US dollar, then silver could be also the one to watch. Now, I haven't looked at silver for quite a while now. Previously, I talked about this upside support line taken from the low of the 18th of March, which, as you can see, kind of failed. Well, it initially was acting as a good support area. It did try to move higher, as you can see, but this level right here, this 24.40 zone, continues to provide some sort of decent resistance here. Although we keep getting these little overshoots here, but still we're not really getting in that daily candle closing above this. So first of all, let me just get rid of this arrow. Just kind of, it's in the way. And another thing, probably let me get rid of this upside line, because it's kind of got violated. So now let's focus mainly on some of the key support and resistance levels. Now, for the downside, now previously I talked about this level here, this 21.66 zone, but given that it kind of moved a little bit here to the right, now what I'm going to look at here is this level here, this 22.89 zone, marked by the low of the 6th of October, and a nice good drop below this area may open the door towards lower levels. Now, a nice good drop below this, yep, would also place the price below the 100-day EMA, and maybe some sellers could see this as a good opportunity to step in. And the next target here could be this 21.66 zone, or we could go further towards this 200-day EMA. But of course, like I said, for now, for that idea to work out, we at least need to see a drop below this 22.81 zone. If that doesn't happen and the price instead rises above this 24.40 1.34.40 territory. Now this is where it could become a little bit more interesting for the buyers, because that may also place the price above the 21-day EMA here. So, and yep, maybe more buyers then could be joining in. So keep your eyes on these two levels, could be quite interesting, but for now we're just kind of really not doing much here, and we're just kind of moving sideways a little bit, so wait for that confirmation push. Ripple yesterday declined, but got a hold up here near these two EMAs, the 21-day and the 100-day EMA, which currently both kind of coincide with each other. So for now, still the same game plan remains. We are neutral as long as the price remains between these two lines, the downside line taken from the high of the 17th of August and the upside one, this medium term upside support line taken from the low of the 13th of March. So in order to aim for some higher levels, we need to see a break of this downside line and a nice good strong push above the 0.2550, and ideally of course also maybe the daily candle kind of remaining above this above this area as well. That could help out the bulls, but for now we just cannot really do much here, and we're waiting for a breakthrough one of these lines. Now, AUD NZD, I've talked about this one in yesterday's traders tea time, and of course this morning I also mentioned this one, guys, to you. So basically now the pair, as you can see, is testing this downside line again. So again, now this is going to be quite interesting. Will this pair actually overcome this? For now, everything's looking quite positive. If we do get a break, a nice good strong break above this downside line, yes, that's wonderful. However, watch out for this barrier, this 1.0851 zone, which acted as a fantastic area of resistance recently. So if we do get this daily candle kind of staying above this area, now this is where it could become a little bit more interesting for more buyers, and the next target here could be this 1.0936 level. So keep your eyes on that one. But in case this downside line once again provides resistance, of course this could reverse south again. However, given this kind of all the situation here, ideally I would prefer to see maybe somewhere a drop somewhere below this 1.077170 zone, or below this 100-day EMA shown as the green line. So keep your eyes on that one, and if we do get a drop below this area, then the next target here could be that lowest point of September near the 1.0718. so keep your eyes on that one. USD CAD, now this one is quite an interesting one because we are still flirting with this upside line. So, and if you remember a few sessions ago, I kind of told you that if we get a break of this upside line, we need to see a confirmation drop here below this 1.3240 territory, which, as you can see, it got only tested, but then we didn't really get a further move below it, and instead it kind of acted as a very nice area of support from which the pair kind of rebounded and is now trading again back above this upside line. However, although it's all looking quite positive here on one side, still I would prefer to wait for a break above this one now, because again, all this area here could be a bit of a tricky one, and if we see, for example, this pair traveling higher, testing this 1.3418 zone, which, as you can see, previously acted as a fantastic resistance zone, and by the way actually acted as the highest point of September, then the pair could reverse back down and maybe test this upside line again. So in other words, we could be getting ourselves a nice ascending triangle, which of course tends to be a bullish indication. However, it's a bullish indication when it breaks the upper side of that triangle. So that's why I would prefer to kind of wait for that pop above this 1.3418 zone. Of course, what you could do here is maybe for tomorrow as well, keep your eyes on the today's high. Again, it's unclear where today's high is still going to be. Is it going to be this one already, or will it be a new one today? So that's why preferably for me, in order to aim for some higher levels, I would like to wait for a break above this 1.3418 zone. I do understand it's quite a bit of a wait here. We could be missing out on a bit of a territory, but we'd rather play it safe. Euro GBP. Now, yesterday I talked about this idea, and for now it seems to be working out nicely. So, yesterday I mentioned this falling wedge pattern, which tends to be a bullish indication, but it's going to be a bullish indication if it breaks the upper side of it. So, as you can see, we're having a nice, fantastic break here above this upper side of the falling wedge. However, of course, at the moment, because the daily candle here is still kind of playing out, so we want to see how this daily candle is going to end. If it's going to stay above this downside, this upper side of the wedge, then that's wonderful, good news for the buyers. However, now this is a little this is where a little kind of caution could come in. Basically, keep your eyes on this little high here of the 30th of September near the 0.9157. As you can see today, we had a test of it. Maybe we even had a bit of a breakout above it, but the bears kind of quickly pushed this pair back down. So if you are a little bit on the cautious side, you could wait for a break above this area and then aim for some higher levels, where the next target could be this high of the 22nd of September, roughly around the 0.9220. But if you're a little bit more on the risky side, of course you keep an eye on the upper side of the wedge. If the daily candle remains above it, then then still it has a chance to move higher. But don't get me wrong, as we have seen these happening several times, it could move higher. But if, for example, it may stall here somewhere, then correct lower, test the upper side of the wedge, of the falling wedge from above, and then rebound and push higher. So that's why I mean, if you're a little bit on the risky side, then be very careful, because it might suddenly drop back below this upper side of the wedge. And if it does that, then, well, I mean, hopefully you have a nice stop loss in place, just not to get to not to kind of wipe out your account, guys. So that's why be very careful here. Yes, for now everything's looking quite positive. If you want to be a little bit more on the safe side, you could wait for a push above this 0.9157 zone, but maybe this push could come tomorrow as well. So like I said, again, for now it's looking quite positive. If it travels above the 0.9157, that's wonderful news for the buyers. Next target here could be this 0.9220, but if it struggles to overcome this barrier straight away, but remains above this upper side of the wedge, still there is a chance for this pair to move higher. The only thing is, just don't exclude a possibility of seeing a bit of a retracement back down to test this upper side of the wedge, and maybe from here it could rebound and move higher. But again, I'll pick up on this one tomorrow, maybe just to see how everything kind of played out. But yeah, for now it's well, for now be very careful. And finally, Euro USD. So here the pair is also trying to make its way higher. This morning I talked about this, that if you want to aim for some lower levels, yes, wait for a drop below this 1.1696 zone. This is what I was talking about this morning. As you can see, the pair kind of is at the moment probably taking out a lot of traders both ways here. I mean, and on the upside, still we cannot really talk about the upside until we get a nice good pop above this 1.1797 territory, or in a way we could round it up towards the 118 zone. So if we get a nice pop above this, then yes, higher levels could be met. But if we don't, if it continues to struggle to break through one of these levels, then yep, for now we'll remain a little bit neutral. So again, guys, for now be very careful, first of all. And another thing, actually, we can get rid of this downside line, no longer valid, and now we're going to mainly focus on these two levels. So let's see how it's going to play out. But the moment the pair is oscillating around the 21-day EMA, so hopefully this can make a move earlier. And again, as I said, keep your eyes on the FOMC meeting minutes today. So I hope you found it useful, guys. Thank you very much for joining in and watching until the end. If you want to catch my video tomorrow morning, as always, my traders espresso, 6 o'clock GMT time. For now, guys, I hope you have a wonderful evening, and stay safe and be very careful and have your stop losses in place. See you tomorrow, guys. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.